Welcome to the Green Wisdom Health Podcast with Dr. Stephen and Janet Lewis, where you will learn about natural solutions to common ailments. And now, here are your hosts, Dr. Stephen and Janet Lewis.
Hello and welcome to this week's show. I'm Janet Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Lewis.
And we are bringing you an exciting show today called Do Supplements Really Work? And for you out there that don't know what we're talking about, a supplement is a natural product that you buy to help your body get better in place.
That's ice cream and cookies?
No, it comes in a bottle, and they're usually pills or vitamins, as some of you might correlate better. But these are, we're talking about individualized nutrients that can assist your body in getting well, which is exactly what we do here at Green Wisdom Health. We help your body get well using natural medicines and low-cost lab work. But so many of our clients come in and say that they've gone to their doctor or they have a friend or family member that says, oh, that stuff doesn't work. And whenever they run their lab work, it's better. And then their doctor thinks, oh, it was just a fluke. You got better on your own. So Dr. Lewis is going to dispel some of the myths today about whether or not this stuff is really working, or you just suddenly got well by the grace of God, which works also. But sometimes God needs a little help, or you need to put a little something in to help him out. So Dr. Lewis, take it from here and educate us as you do so well.
Well, I tell people I'm full of opinions. You can take them, and I always tell people to listen with your gut feeling, your intuition, or your spirit of discernment, not the head stuff, because the world is full of people that go to Google and they get all confused and sicker and sicker and sicker. It's kind of delusional or illusional that you think you can get more knowledge and still be in control, and it's not true. It's not knowledge that makes you well, it's wisdom, and it's not... Well, it's got to be the doing. You know, faith without works is dead. The works is the action step, and some people forget that part. And we hear this pretty much every day. Well, my doctor said vitamins are useless. My doctor says there's no research on vitamins. My doctor says that's just expensive urine. And I can't believe people would actually fall for that foolish saying. I'm sorry. I'm trying to throttle back what I'm really thinking. And I got a message today from a dear friend of mine. Love her dearly, always have, always will, sweetheart. And she says, well, I'm taking this and this and this and this, and it's not working. And I wrote her back and I said, well, most of the ones that I've seen that you're taking are only in a form that your plant could utilize, but a human body can't. So, and I made the analogy of, well, it's kind of like men. Some are mediocre, moderate, okay, average. Some of them are toxic, harmful, and scary as heck. And some of them are just absolutely wonderful. And supplements are the same way. So when somebody says, oh, that just creates expensive urine, it's like, really? When you eat a lobster and a ribeye, does that create expensive excrement? No, your body has the wisdom to take out the nutrients that's in it, if you have good absorption, of course. But I'm going to state a lot of cases here, and, you know, I have the tendency to go down the rabbit hole, as Amanda said. She thought that was cute when I mentioned her. But we have so many people that are consistent, and they keep getting consistently better, like Shauna and Raphael in Tucson. I hadn't said anything about them in years, but they've been doing it for years, and they keep getting better and better and better results. Or Vic and Lisa in Nevada, etc., Rob in Michigan, and now his brother Brian. But
when you say they get better results, what exactly are you referring to?
Well, you know, that's a good point, because people, they'll get on supplements and very quickly they'll say, I don't feel. So you got to get past your feelings, because sometimes you feel worse before you get better. And, you know, if you got a speeding freight train going down the track to doom, despair, and agony on me, that's an old song from Hee-Haw. But if you got that speeding freight train, it really takes a while to slow it down and reverse it. So, yes, we want you to feel better, because I think that's what everybody wants. But sometimes you really have to go beyond your feelings and just hang in there. Sometimes it's just lab that looks better.
Well, and that's kind of what we base their getting better on. We don't even have to talk to the person to know they're getting better. They'll rerun their lab work, which, it takes about 90 days before the lab starts making changes, and that's just God's law, not ours.
And Janet says start making changes. Don't expect a conclusion.
But the people that stick with it run their lab in a couple of times a year, and as they do that, we see the huge improvements that from where they originally started. So it's not just us going, hey, it sounds like they feel better.
So when you have somebody that you think has authority, and I love our medical profession, God knows they've helped me a bunch, they're pretty brilliant, but they say vitamins aren't FDA regulated. That's BS. And I'm talking bacon sandwich or belief systems, whatever you want to put on those two letters, BS. That is total junk, and I'm not going to get around to the FDA regulations, but they watch the holy heck out of vitamins. Where you get into the counterfeit vitamins is the ones that sold on the internet, and I'm not going to get too deep into that. Counterfeiting vitamins, according to one particular huge good company, says it's an incredible problem, the counterfeiting, like the Rolex watches I was offered in China. It's like, 10 for $100. I don't think they're Rolexes because they're 10 grand each. But so when they say, oh, you just make expensive urine, really? Life's too short to drink cheap beer. Drink the good stuff. I don't know how I got onto that, but so when they say, oh, vitamins aren't regulated, yes, they are, and I may get to that on another podcast. And when they say it's expensive urine, it's like, why would you not put the best nutrients into the temple of the Holy Spirit? I mean, come on. Okay, I'm quoting scripture, and then I'm talking kind of harshly. Y'all forgive me. But the thing about it is there is a huge, huge difference in vitamins, and all people are nutritionally deficient. And one of the things is even our government, and you know how brilliant our government is, they said that 75% of all Americans fail to get the recommended daily amount of vegetables and fruits. Well, then you've got to realize, really? I'm eating vegetables, but how do you know what kind of nutrients are in them? The nutrient deficiencies is not just common, it's pretty much paramount in all vegetables. And many of you that have used my services have heard me tell the story about the organic farmer. Says, but I eat organic and I feel great taking your stuff and I feel terrible when I don't. And I told him, I said, you don't know if there's 1 part per million of manganese or molybdenum. That's a tongue twister. If you got brain fog, we can fix that too. 1 part per million or 16,000 parts per million. That's what some of the research says, that even organic vegetables can vary 16,000 times between good to, oh my God, wonderful. And so just because it's organic doesn't mean it's really that nutrient dense. It's a good thing. If you're getting organic or fresh and not conventionally fertilized, you're at least not getting, the plastics and pesticides, the things that cause problems. But it's just kind of crazy because our food supply is stinky. And I had a lot of political stuff written here about how the government will subsidize wheat, corn, and soy. And I'm not going to get too deep into that because I don't need to get into politics, I promise you. But our government they're subsidizing this stuff. Then they'll say, for example, take wheat. Wheat having 4 to 40 times more gluten in it than it did just a few years ago because of the way they fertilize it. It puts on more protein, which is gluten. For you that have gluten problems, like one I just talked to on Shooting Straight from Dr. Lewis, y'all should join that discussion. It's on Facebook. She's very gluten sensitive. And so then they take the wheat and they bleach it. So what few nutrients are in it, they destroy. And then our government, in its infinite wisdom, and we know how wise our government is, they make them fortify it with artificial or synthetic nutrients. A synthetic nutrients, for those that are mechanically inclined, is like a left-handed threaded nut on a right-handed threaded bolt. It's an exact mirror image, but it will not fit together. So instead of being utilized in your body, the body has to expend its precious little energy to detoxify it, not to be able to use it at all. So here's the other thing people say, but I research. Oh, I hear that several times a day. Well, I've done my research. Let me tell you what research is. People, when they're doing research and they're doing a meta-analysis, what they do, some people, is they will take hundreds or thousands of studies and they'll throw out the ones that don't fit the model of what they're trying to prove. And that's exactly what they've done with this global warming crap. Yes, I said that. Janet shook her head like, yeah, Stephen, you ought to calm down. It's like, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, is there climate change? Absolutely. But if you think it's going to change anything when they put a carbon tax on, it's not going to change anything. If you'll look, actually, in the 1970s, they predicted an ice age, and now they're predicting a minor ice age again. So it does vary. Of course, it changes. But don't be fooled, because what happens is people tell you a lie loud enough and long enough, people begin to believe it, kind of like the cholesterol thing. And I back that up with research. So here's how they do studies. I've had patients that would quit their multivitamin or quit their essential fatty acid, the omega-3s, because somebody was on the internet and would poo-poo it. Well, here's what happens, and this is a good thing about vitamins. 747 trials. 747. They only took 68 that were combined into what they call one study. So they cherry-picked 68 out of 747. And what they did, they cut and skewed that toward the elderly people who are already closer to the pearly gates. The mean age in several of the trials was over 80. Now that's beyond our, estimated time we have to live. One participant was actually 103 years old, and they're doing this analysis on vitamins. They had diseases like heart disease, cancer, cirrhosis of the liver, kidney failure, arthritis, diabetes, cataracts, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's disease, and heavy smokers and people that had pre-malignant conditions. They included that, and they included people in a nursing home. And so they used that analysis to prove that vitamins didn't work. So amongst these 68 studies out of 747, the recommended daily intake was like in vitamin E, the range was 10 international units to 5,000. Now, 5,000 IUs of vitamin E, if it's a good vitamin E, is toxic. So you see, the research is not research. It's actually skewing that to say what they want it to say. Some of these studies were only done for a few days. Now, vitamins and supplements and nutrients work over a period of months and years. The more you do it, the better your body gets. The average was only 3 years, and that's a pretty small amount of time to study the outcome. And so what it said, the headline says, supplements significantly increase the risk of death by 5% overall. But the researchers pulled from 47 trials, they pulled those out that had been executed properly. And when they really put the truth there and did it correctly, the mortality or death rate decreased by 9%. And again, that's over 3 years. If they'd done it over 10 or 12 or 15 years, it would have been a lot more than that. So you see, sometimes when you're reading research, it's not really research. You've got to be really, really careful with that. So then some critics say you get everything you need out of your diet. Well, if you're eating pasteurized dairy, wheat, soy, and corn, you're not getting nearly the nutrients that you need out of your diet, and you're certainly getting a big dose of glyphosate, Roundup, which is, I think, one molecule off of Agent Orange. I'm not a chemist, so that may not be true, but I've read that more than once from different sources. The problem with these assertions, though, is it's not the same vegetable as it was back when I was a kid. And you got to realize there were studies done in the early 1900s that actually said that our soils were minerally depleted, almost 100 years ago. So if they were depleted then, do you think they've gotten any better since then? No, they really haven't. So the best thing you can do is start to grow your own vegetable as much as you can. Buy organic as much as you can. Know your local farmer, because there's kind of a big movement in people beginning to grow their own fruits and vegetables and chickens and cows. That's actually why I'm a big fan of Jack Spirko. If y'all want to know more about getting healthy food, check out Jack Spirko on the Survival Podcast. He has a lot of listeners, and he's a very incredibly intelligent man, and he'll tell you how to be healthier. And so if the general population doesn't eat enough fruits or vegetables that are already nutritionally deficient, how do you think you can possibly be healthy? And this comes from the Center of Disease Control. So, they're a pretty good entity, I would say. Even the Center of Disease Control says that if you have a diet high in fruits and vegetables, it can reduce the risk of many leading causes of death, and it can play a very important role in weight management. Well, more than half of the people that I talk to say, well, I just can't get rid of the weight. I'm doing paleo, primal, keto, and I'm gaining weight. And I lean more toward paleo, primal, keto, Atkins. But some people do that, and I have to explain to these people, well, this is probably why, because weight loss is not as simple as decrease the calories and increase the caloric burning by exercise. It's not that simple. You have genes that are sparing. They spare the calories. So you have to be very, very careful about that. And that's one of the things that, say, Drew Manning from Fit to Fat to Fit was talking about. And he's got an incredible book. And, we loved having an experience on his podcast. But so if somebody in authority, your spouse, you don't want to butt heads with your spouse, but if your doctor says, they're not researched, oh, you don't need them, I'm going to give you a few examples of why I think you do need supplements. And they need to be good ones. Now, just in the subject matter of arthritis, American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, British Journal of Nutrition, gave excellent reviews on how EFAs fight inflammation. EFAs being essential fatty acids, or the omega-3s, or fish oil. They also say antioxidants reduce inflammation, and we're talking about inflammation of the joints for arthritis. Journal of Annals of New York Academy of Science says vitamin E. Journal of Arthritis Rheumatology says vitamin D. Journal of Arthritis Rheumatology says vitamin C. Journal of American Clinical Nutrition says B vitamins. British Journal of Nutrition says vitamin A. Beta-carotene from Journal of Archives of Internal Medicine. Now, I can go on and on and on, so you know me, I probably will. So these are supplements that you can't get enough of out of your food. So why wouldn't you take somebody that you trust, someone that has perhaps a lot more knowledge, and follow their advice? And as far as the weight loss thing goes, we're having a pretty incredible success with the inexpensive canary seed, and it's on our website too. I don't know what it says, cheap weight loss or something. Janet's shaking her head.
Exactly what it says, cheap weight loss options.
Folks, that just means I'll listen to Janet and I'll get a cookie when I get home. Not that we should be eating cookies. She's shaking her head no.
You're so contradictory.
That's why you like it. You like the bad boy. I know you do. You told me you did. As far as cardiovascular health, and that kind of goes along with being overweight, because that very much increases your risk of cardiovascular problems. Diabetes goes along with it in a big way. Some of the herbs, let's talk about herbs for a minute. Hawthorn berry is like an ACE inhibitor drug. Hawthorn, and that's from Journal of Pharmacy and Pharmacology letter. Green tea is an excellent antioxidant. Well, I'll take coffee. I know green tea's better, but licorice helps your adrenal function. Chemopharmacology Bulletin. Ginkgo is helpful for intermittent claudication or poor and painful peripheral circulation. That's from American Journal of Medicine. So if you get somebody that says these things aren't researched, you need to give them an X-Lax because they're full of it. They don't know what they're talking about. And I'm going to go on and on. Minerals and essential fatty acids help the thyroid, which helps the heart. Journal of Molecular Cellular Endocrinology. And yeah, when I read about these kind of things, I'll look it up and read the entire research paper. I'm talking about the real research. Okay, you guys that are 20, 30, 50 and have problems with intercourse, fish oil lowers cholesterol and improves function of sex hormones. And that's from the American College of Nutrition. So eat that stinky piece of salmon. Take good fish oil. Some are really good and some are not so good. Fish oils that we use are very, very cleaned up. And we've got some that are almost 4 times more absorbable than the normal fish oil. So,
because it's the ratio of EPA to DHA that really makes a great fish oil.
Yeah. And what form it's in. Ours is in the triglyceride side. It's depending on how it's coated and when it comes out.
Ours will actually move lab values.
Oh, we've seen some incredible, triglycerides going from 400 down to 100 in 3 months. And this one particular guy says, well, my medical doctor, young lady, much shorter than him, got up in his face and stuck her finger in his face. And she says, I can't recommend what you're doing, but you better not ever quit again. And that meant care at our office. And see, he needs good medical care, and she's a great MD. Essential fatty acids reduce heart mortality 29 to 40%, says the American Journal of Cardiology and Journal of Circulation and Lancet. Why would somebody tell you that they're not researched? And it says nuts, especially walnuts, lower cholesterol. American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. So if you are a nut, start eating walnuts. I usually eat a handful of walnuts every day when I get home. For the most part, I do. What else do you want to know about? I mean, I'm full of all kinds of stuff. And let me just talk about one toxin. You hear me talk about toxins. Fluoride. People that don't have good thyroid function, it's because your body's full of chlorine, chloride, bromine, bromide, and fluorine or fluoride. Just fluoride itself, and that's in your toothpaste and in your water, can increase your lead absorption. Well, lead makes your neurotransmitters go ballistic, and you've got to have extra minerals from supplements to offset the lead. It can cause thyroid disease, fluoride can, lower thyroid function, genetic damage, and cell death, disrupts synthesis of collagen. Now, folks, to you good-looking women that don't want wrinkles, that means you're going to get more wrinkles if you're consuming fluoride. But more importantly, you've got to have that collagen formation, because I don't care what kind of minerals you put in your body. If you don't have collagen in the bone, it will not have a place to stick. And we got plenty of people that do this consistently, and they end up with bone density tests 2 years later that says their bones are thicker than they used to be, which used to blow my mind because I thought it was a 7-year turnover, but we're seeing it in 2 years. And so you've got fluorine or fluoride all in your environment. It can cause muscle disorders, bone fractures, inhibit the formation of antibodies. So, whoa, here comes your autoimmune diseases start. And it can damage your sperm and increase infertility. And that's just one out of thousands of different toxins. So why would you not take a good multivitamin, which I hope Janet will jump in and start talking about that. We've got one that will kick butt and take names.
Right. So if you're wanting a multivitamin, that's just something, a good place to get started because you don't really know where to get started. That's usually what we always suggest. And we have one called Alpha Base, which I put in the show notes. It's the one without iron. A lot of women and men think they need iron. No, you don't, not without seeing it on lab, unless your doctor's told you need iron. Don't
With
just assume
lab.
that. Yeah, with lab, because you can actually hurt yourself taking iron.
Yes.
But that's a really great place to start, that and the fish oil. And also, if you are thinking, well, I really don't know what's wrong with me, I just don't feel good, I'm tired, I don't really know where to start, we always suggest doing the lab panels, and the one we suggest is on our website, and I also put that in the show notes. It's the comprehensive panel because it is 12 different panels of lab. It includes 5 parts of your thyroid, a 3-month blood sugar, the basic things that your doctor does. Dr. Lewis can actually see whether you're digesting and breaking down the foods you're having. He can actually tell if you need a good fish oil.
Well, if your spouse has gas, belching, bloating, the spouse will know if you're not digesting. I got the stink eye on that. So,
or if your trains are moving relatively slow through the tunnels and you're not eliminating as many meals a day as you eat, that's a good sign that you might need to do lab work to find out why. So, for those of you that are new to this, we can order that. You can order it on our website, and then there's usually a Quest lab location, a draw station, that they actually draw the lab for us, and then the results are sent to Dr. Lewis and you. So you both of us get a copy of it, and then based on that, Dr. Lewis can make recommendations. And any of the other panels you see on our site, always ordered one of the featured ones, and they all start with GWH for Green Wisdom Health, because Dr. Lewis takes a lot of his time, talent, and energy into that lab to make sure that you get the best results possible by providing a functional medicine report, a supplement sheet, and a consultation with him to go over your findings, because many people will do their lab and then they don't have any idea what it says. Many times the doctors don't know what it says. So,
and sometimes I have to look some things up too. So, that's typical.
We're looking for patterns in the lab for health. We're not waiting for the disease to happen, although we address things that are flagged on it. Many times they're not flagged, but we can see where it's heading into what direction and actually start turning your health around. So there's no need to go, hey, I don't know what to take, and I think I'll just try this. But if you're, relatively healthy and just looking for a good place to start and a good one product, the Alpha Base is the way to go.
And we've got other fish oils, but the thing about it is we have a massive amount of people that stick with it. Actually, we had a lot of change just a few months ago. We grew 36% the first month when that change took place. So almost everybody was very, very polite and very understanding with the little bugs and snafus that were in the website. They're mostly gone now. So we're surrounded by some incredible people that are committed to better health, and they put up with my smart aleckisms, and I appreciate it. I mean, it's always well meant, but it just does my heart good to hear people and they say, oh, well, you did this and therefore I've made these changes and now I want my family and my friends to do this. Let me ask you one question to people that are like insurance agents and people that are like HR, that handle a lot of people at a business. Can you imagine what would happen to your insurance rates if everybody in your company had a lower BMI, lowered cholesterol, lower weight, lower chance of heart attack and stroke, lower A1C? Yeah, there are substances that are very inexpensive that can do that, so the entire company can get lowered rates. We have a lot of insurance agents that send people our way to clean up their blood work just so they can get a better rate on insurance, and those are really good people that are, from an insurance perspective, trying to do the best for their clients. Folks, if you put in the right nutrients, your body has this wisdom, and I call it God, in spite of offending a few people. God knows what to do, and he's still in your body, and he's still running things, but he has to have something to work with. And that may be B vitamin, it may be D, it might be all of these omegas we talk about. But you've got to get it in for your body to work with it, and your body can just take it and run with it. And there's no... Well, I want you to be able to live and be healthy and be happy and have that joy and have that energy. And folks, it is attainable. So, give us a call and check us out and see what we can do to help. And I hope you've enjoyed it. And so
fill out the health survey. That's a great way to start. If you don't know what lab panel to pick and you'd like to talk with Dr. Lewis, most of the time he calls you after you filled out the health survey. That's on our website as well at greenwisdomhealth.com.
People say, I can't believe you called me. I said, well, Janet's the busy one here. She is. Behind every successful man is a very brilliant and very tired woman. And that would be Janet, but she still has a beautiful smile.
Well, Dr. Lewis wants to make sure that he's giving you his best, so we want to make sure we've ordered the best lab for you. But we appreciate you listening to the show. If you guys have any ideas of any shows that you would like to hear, any topics, please email us. Put it on the Shooting Straight with Dr. Lewis Facebook page. He loves talking, in case you haven't figured that out. And we will be back with you next week for a very exciting show.
Once again, our show has come to an end, but your hope in your health is only beginning. If you or a loved one are in need of a different outcome and are waiting for a brighter future, take the first step and go to our website and fill out the health survey. Please don't keep us a secret. If you know someone that could benefit from this podcast, please share this show with your friends and family. You are only one step away from a life worth living.